Hello, I'm David Thomas of the Open Ballots Party. This is the first video in our platform series. We're going to start with inflation, since polls consistently show that is the single biggest concern for Americans. There are two misconceptions that need to be cleared up. First, the term inflation refers to two completely separate things. One is stuff costing more, and the other is money getting less valuable. Both manifest as higher prices, but they aren't the same phenomenon and they don't happen for the same reasons. The first one, currency depreciation, was the classical meaning of inflation, but the term now refers also to rising production costs or increased value of goods. This is important on a basic level to understand cause and effect. When politicians complain about government overspending leading to inflation and propose drill baby drill as a solution, that doesn't make any sense until you consider that in the first case they are talking about currency depreciation and in the second about production costs. The current administration is certainly responsible for the inflation we've experienced, but I don't think it's as much their fault as one would assume. The pandemic was a pretty unique crisis without a modern precedent, and it wasn't obvious what to expect. Even once it was clear inflation was happening, the central bank took 9 months to realize it wasn't going to go away on its own. And they're supposed to be the ones who know what they're doing. The parties cast a lot of blame here, but it's fair to note that nobody was predicting inflation before it happened or proposing solutions before it started, which would have been the time to act. In any case, the fundamental cause here was that after the pandemic, demand returned with a vengeance before supply chains had time to catch up. Now, the other misconception about inflation is the difference between price movement and absolute prices. Inflation refers to price movement, and high inflation in that sense has actually stopped. We're back down to 3%, but absolute prices remain quite high. That is still an urgent problem. Food prices are up 30%, and food has not gotten 30% harder to produce, which means that something is still broken here. Now, half of that is energy prices. Transportation cost is a major component of food prices. We'll examine it more in a future video, but we do need an energy policy that insulates against price spikes. And we should do what we can to bring energy prices down. Now, environmental impacts aside, that is what Trump's drill baby drill proposal is about. But the other side is that independent of energy, food prices have just remained high, and that is a major problem for Americans, particularly the millions in some sort of fixed income. We need to figure it out. Exactly what that entails, we're not in a position to say, but the point is that the discussion about lowering inflation totally misses the point. Inflation has been stabilized for the moment, but we urgently need to do something about the existing high prices that inflation has already created. And that probably means direct action on the supply side, since the demand side solution is the charmingly Soviet strategy of telling people to be less hungry.